Blog Talk Radio.
Lift off on another episode of Tarot Today Radio. For the past 12 years, we've been bringing you the world of tarot. This is the official broadcast of the Tarot Guild. Now in our 18th year, the international organization for tarot lovers, students, and professional readers since 2004, with the world's only full-featured tarot social media networking platform, thetarotguild.com. I am your host, Dax Carlisle. I'm coming to you live from Tucson, Arizona, and joining me, of course, as always, my fabulous co-host, Mary Brown. Mary is the Vice President of the Tarot Guild and Director of Communications. She's a professional tarot reader, crystal Reiki master, and here she is, live from Amarillo, Texas, Mary Brown. Hey, Mary.
Hey, Dax. Hey, Dax.
Here we are.
Hey, everybody. Here we are, the first Tarot Today radio show of 2022. This is exciting.
Happy Psychic Saturday.
Happy Psychic Saturday.
Awesome sauce. And we got a great show for you today because we've got a guest. Yes, we'll reveal that in just a moment, but I want to let everybody know that we are a live call-in show, so you can give us a ring during the show. That's right, 714-816-4628. You can also join us on the chat post at chat.psychictalk.net. It's right there on the show page for today's episode. Scroll down below the player. That's right. You can listen live right there on the page. And if you scroll down below the player, the chat room will appear. Give it a couple seconds to materialize. But you can join us in the chat room and chat as well and ask for a mini reading in there. Once again, it's chat.psychictalk.net. But, of course, we would love to hear your lovely voice and chat with you live on air. Give us a ring, 714-816-4628. As soon as you get through, press 1 on your dial pad. That puts you up in the caller queue with your hand raised. So we know you want to be live on air with us. So be sure to press 1 as soon as you get through. 714-816-4628. Brand new year, Mary Brown.
Yes, it is. Happy New Year. Happy New You. Happy New in 22.
You actually had the first show of the year. There's a Rock for that, and you talked about that, the new you.
Yeah, that was fun to actually do a show on New Year's Day. That was pretty cool. First show and the first day of the new year.
Mm-hmm. And we are really ramping things up for 2022. We're going to be having some fantastic guests and interviews all year long, all month long, each month, and doing a lot of other things too, like my course that's on sale right now. Actually, it's half off at thetarotguild.com. In 2022, we're going to redo my course, all new for 2022, Mary. We're going to hold it live again. I haven't done a live version in several years, So that's going to be exciting. We're also, speaking of live, we're going to start doing lives on our Facebook group where you can chat with me and Mary and Tamara Kerr, our director of certification, and some of our other staffers, Sharona Rapsik and others, on lives every Tuesday. We're going to do Tarot Tuesdays starting next week. Tarot Tuesdays, Mary.
Yes, Tarot Tuesdays, and we should have tacos too. We could have tacos. Taco Tuesday.
I know. I was going to bring that up on Tuesday and say, now I'm hungry. I want my Taco Tuesdays too.
I want mine now. I want a taco now. I literally do. This is just a side note, but it is kind of a newsy thing. Did you know Taco Bell just started their own subscription service? So you can sign up for tacos every month. I was just like,
okay.
My husband sent that link to it to me in a message and said, "Oh, your dream has come true."
Yeah.
I love tacos.
Netflix for tacos. I love it. Netflix for tacos.
Exactly.
Oh wow. So yeah, we have a very special guest and something really interesting to discuss. Her deck, Tarot Disassembled. It's a really interesting concept. We're going to get all into that with special guest Jeniffer Cooper Steidley. And actually, I never asked her. We were in the group and everything, in the green room before the show, and I forgot to ask Jeniffer how to pronounce her last name. I know I'm totally destroying it there, but she'll correct us when we get her on air. But before we bring her on, I had so many issues. I have a brand new computer, yay! Except for the fact that I'm having issues, and I wasn't able to do my social media posts and everything. It was like doing weird things with the text, and oh my God. So after the show, I have to figure out what's going on here. But meanwhile, Mary, I did not have time to pull a card of the day, but I'm sure you did.
I did, and actually I posted it in the Psychic Talk Radio Facebook group. If you haven't joined that yet, join it. It's a lot of fun. You can go to psychictalk.net/Facebook, and it'll take you right there. We have a page. Like the page, join the group, join the conversation. And the card of the day I posted there today comes from the Andean Healing Energy cards. This is one of my favorite oracle decks. It's by Eileen O'Hare with the artwork by Joy Galinsky. And the card I pulled is actually what they call the Pacarina card. So, this is based on the, Q'ero, the belief system of the Q'ero people in the Andean mountains. And Pacarino is a Quechua word, but what it means is it means either a place of origin. It's really like an opening in the earth, so like a cave, or sometimes even an underwater opening that opens up further. And the card is actually about expressing your creativity. And this is a great day to do that, whether that's just, doodling, writing a story, drawing, painting, sculpting, whatever it is, do something creative today. And the one message that I absolutely love about this card has to do with the idea of our inner critic sometimes seems to be bashing our inner creator. And when that happens, we can sort of shut down and we don't express our creativity. And so the message is to love your inner critic, accept it, listen to it, soothe it. Just don't believe it. Just go ahead and create anyways. Let it flow, people. Let it flow today. Make something. Do your thing.
Let it
Do
flow.
you. And that is what I got. And you can
I'm
see
going
that
to try to
posted
let it flow.
on the Facebook group. Yes, let it flow.
Let it flow. Yes, we actually have two groups. You can go over to Facebook and just type in Psychic Talk Radio. There's a page in a group. Like the page, join the group, and you'll see Mary's post there. We also have the Tarot Guild one with like around 7,000 or nearing 7,000 people on that group, and you can just type in Tarot Guild. And we have, again, a page you can like and a group you can join. Join in the conversation there. Just wanted to mention real quick before we bring on our guest that I had mentioned earlier, the New Year's sale. Basically, we're extending the holiday sale. So if you go over to thetarotguild.com, I haven't even had time with the new, setting up new computers and all this stuff. I haven't had time to make a New Year's banner. It still has Santa Claus flying in his airplane here, the half-off sale. You'll see it right smack in the middle of the page here when you go to thetarotguild.com. It says Happy Holidays. Just click there. And if you're a professional reader, you can join the guild. It's $1 a month, folks. It's a total no-brainer. And you can get certified for half off. And if you're new to tarot, you can enroll in my course for half off. Certification is actually included when you enroll. And I just had 3 people enroll, Mary, in the last couple of days. It's really exciting. Cool. We're hitting the ground running in 2022. And everybody that enrolls, and, you can take the course as it is now, the pre-recorded course, you'll all be able to join us for the live course, which we're going to start, I don't know, sometime later this month or the beginning of February or something like that. I'm going to start holding live classes every week, and we're going to go through the whole thing again, only all new for 2022. That's right. So go sign up right now at thetarotguild.com. Join the membership. You get a lot of benefits with the premium membership, and you're also able to enroll in the course for half off, get your certification half off if you don't need the course, all over there. And that's going to go on, through the new year here, probably for a couple of weeks, so you have time to get in on that. And the other thing I wanted to re-mention is that Tarot Tuesdays, because it's a brand new thing. We're going to start next Tuesday. My cohort in crime on the live will be Tamara Kerr. She's our director of certification. We'll be talking about certification, tarot, being a professional tarot reader, things like that. We'll also be, chatting with you in the chat right there on the live. You can ask questions. You can ask for a mini reading. We're going to hold it at noon Pacific time, which is 1 p.m. my time right now here in Arizona, Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Amarillo, Chicago time, where Mary is, and 3 p.m. Eastern. So you'll find it on our Facebook group. That's where the live will be. So go ahead and join the group so you are alerted over there on Facebook. That's right. You can also just type in your browser facebook.thetarotguild.com or thetarotguild.com/Facebook. That'll take you right over to it as well. Okay. So we are going to be taking calls a little later in the show, but real quickly, we need to get into our conversation with Jeniffer. Let's bring her on now. Tarot Disassembled.
Yay.
Yay.
Hi,
Jeniffer.
Hi, Jeniffer.
I'm so excited to be with you guys.
We're excited to have you. Welcome to the Tarot Today radio show.
Thank you.
So tell us about the journey of creating this deck. This is so different, so fresh of a concept, and what sparked it for you?
Generally, my kids sparked it. I have a 10-year-old son who, since he was a little bitty thing, he has always taken things apart. And that includes meals I make him, toys, anything he can disassemble, basically, to find out more about it. And my husband's a little bit that way, too. So one of their favorite projects to do together is to take old computers and that are no longer working, and literally kind of break them open and take apart all the little tiny pieces to kind of explore them. So they've done that together since my son was a very young little toddler. So one day we were having lunch, and I've adored tarot for pretty much all of my adult life. And we were having lunch, and I had made him some kind of sandwich. And once again, he took everything apart very methodically and laid out all the pieces. And I just looked at him and I said, "Why won't you just eat it like a sandwich?" And he said, "I don't know. I just like seeing all the different parts and eating them individually." And I don't know why. It just was like a little light bulb moment. And I thought, well, I wonder what else you could really kind of take apart into the individual pieces like that. And because everything comes back to tarot for me sometimes, that's instantly what I thought of. So that's kind of where the little seed of inspiration started. And I rolled with it from there.
I love that. I was reading your Kickstarter page for this. So this started out as a Kickstarter project, and my goodness, you did really good on the funding of it. And I love the part where you talk about your dog doing squeakectomies on his toys too. So it's like even not just your human family, even your dog's disassembled things. I got such a kick out of that. But
that's right. I'm surrounded by disassemblers, definitely.
Were you, what was the Kickstarter experience like? Did it go as you expected it to go? Did you think that it would be like that successful, or were you nervous going into it?
I did not expect that at all. I was blown away by how well it did, and very grateful and very touched that it did so well. I really just had hoped to get it funded, with my base kind of amount, because I just really wanted to see it get made into an actual deck and get printed. And that's definitely, Kickstarter is amazing for artists like that, to be able to give them the chance to, fund something that maybe they wouldn't be able to fund on their own. It's like something like a print run. So that was my main goal, was just to be able to see it get made into print. And I honestly was just blown away. I'm still sometimes, it's been months now, and I'm still sometimes walking around a little bit in shock about it. So I can definitely say I had a what's that?
Like, did that really happen? Are you pinching yourself?
Oh, definitely. Always pinching myself. I'm still kind of reeling from it, and very, very grateful for the way it went, because I know there's a lot of potential with Kickstarters, but I know they don't always go that way. So it's a little bit of the luck of the draw, and a little bit of having a lot of people willing to share your stuff, which is, I think, a huge part of that community feel to Kickstarter, which I really love. There's that sense of, you kind of relying on people to hopefully share to their people, and other people to share, and getting the word out about it is kind of the biggest part, I think, sometimes.
Oh, wow. And that, that's something that I don't think anybody else has really mentioned, because it is true. I know other deck creators that, put their decks on Kickstarter and like sort of nothing happened, so they ended up going like the traditional route instead. But is that something organic, or did you know people on Kickstarter that did that, or they just found it somehow?
I think it was a mix of kind of perfect storm elements. I definitely was trying to share progress works of the deck long before I ever did the Kickstarter. So that I think that helped to kind of get a little bit of excitement built around it. And then I really have. It's funny because Instagram is a place where I'm probably the most active on social media, and I've only been on there a couple years, but I really kind of joined originally because I had another deck I had done that's not a tarot deck, but it's just like a little oracle deck. That was my first baby deck. It was called the Botanic Whispers, and it was kind of a plant-based deck that I had done. And I thought, well, I made this deck. I should probably try to share it somewhere and kind of get the word out about it. So I joined Instagram thinking it would just be a good place to share visuals of art that I'm making. And it really became a place where I found a community of tarot creators, and especially indie tarot creators, people who are doing self-publishing. And it really became this magical thing where I made some really authentic, genuine connections with people that I would call my friends now. So it's really kind of an amazing thing, the way the world will give you opportunities to put the right people in your path and make genuine connections, even in such a weird place like social media. So I think I had kind of developed a community that was willing to share, and that's honestly what helped me, to have the success I did, was just the willingness of people to share and spread the word.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And why don't we tell people a little bit about this deck, because it is very different. And, looking at it, I had a couple questions, just right off the bat. One, and it's just, I'm a tarot geek a little bit. I was just wondering, which version of the Rider-Waite-Smith did you work with when you were developing your deck? And also, can you kind of just give people just a short concept, statement about it? What makes this deck different? It's based on the Rider-Waite-Smith symbols, but not necessarily the Rider-Waite. It's not a Rider-Waite-Smith clone. You've kind of pulled the symbols out of each card. Can you kind of tell people how
what's going on in this deck, please?
Yes, what is it?
Sure. So basically the concept was, I definitely started with Rider-Waite-Smith. I'm honestly not sure what version I was working with. I think it's probably what I would consider the most recognizable version. I have one of the old school Rider-Waite-Smith decks.
Universal weight.
Yeah, universal weight, and I'm probably not as. I definitely love tarot, but I'm probably not as educated as and as pros like you guys are. So I don't know if I can talk intelligently about the different variations of it. But universal weight is probably the one I was working with. But I've had that deck for years, and the concept is basically each card in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, that the artwork that Pamela Coleman Smith did is so deep with, there's so many layers and layers of symbolism and meaning in those cards, but the cards are obviously, they're not huge. They're small in comparison to a giant painting or something. And sometimes unless you get a microscope out, there's little elements that you could almost miss, that you wouldn't maybe even take into account in you're working with that energy of that particular card. So I wanted to break out more of the individual symbols, and even make some of the symbols that were very tiny in the Rider-Waite-Smith maybe a little more noticeable and prominent. And so I kind of just took out all the major symbols that weren't humans, because that was kind of the other facet of this deck, is there's really very little human imagery in it, and then kind of reassemble them into some kind of pattern that's less about telling a pictorial story and more about showing all those individual symbols, so that people can maybe hone into certain individual symbols that really draw their intuition in.
So, and then the other thing I was wondering is, the color scheme of this. It's these really bright. I've been sick all week. This bright colored, deck arrives in the mail, and it just made me feel better. It was like a box of sunshine,
Oh, I love that. A box of sunshine. That's I'm going to write that down. I love that.
You can use that.
Yeah,
you
use
keep
that
it,
one.
honey. Run with it.
Thank you.
But what was it about the colors? Why did you use that particular palette? And is there because I teach tarot, and a lot of I don't focus on it so much, but I know a lot of other tarot teachers that focus on the colors, like the background color and the Fool card, that kind of thing. And you've sort of put your own colors in there instead. And I was just wondering, what was it about that? Why was it, how were colors important to you in creating your deck?
Sure. Yeah. That's a great question. I've actually had a couple people ask me about the color palette. It started being inspired from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So I started with the color scheme from Rider-Waite-Smith as a basis. So, excuse me. So some of those, that orangey yellow color that's very prominent throughout Rider-Waite-Smith, I definitely picked that up into my color scheme pretty quickly. That kind of light gray that's behind all the aces and kind of, this is fairly prominent. I picked that up and kind of wanted to have that to be a component. But then I started to depart. Once I kind of got some of the base colors that I was inspired by from Rider-Waite-Smith, I started to kind of depart a little bit into my own scheme. Like there's kind of a bright aqua color that's really not a very signature color of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Because I really did want it to be, especially since I was breaking down these individual symbols, I also just envisioned it being very bright and colorful as well. I would say I definitely had used color intentionally, but not necessarily to mimic exactly the Rider-Waite-Smith. So if you were to do a side-by-side comparison of certain cards from my deck with the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, there's some that would be almost...
we lost Jeniffer. She dropped. We got to wait for her to call back in here. Hold on a second, folks. We're going to get Jeniffer back on here, hopefully. And meanwhile, I know what she was talking about. You could see the deck, actually, if you go to the show page or anywhere on the social media where we have today's show posted. Our banner actually has some cards from her deck spread out, and you can see the colors talking about Mary and Jeniffer. And I like how the colors kind of they make the symbols pop, Mary. Would you say?
Oh yeah, and that's the thing that really stood out to me, because there's different. You know how sometimes deck creators will go by the elements with the suits, and so they'll have like a background color for each suit, like maybe all the earth cards have
water.
A green background, blue for we've seen it a lot, right? We've seen it a lot. And this, she doesn't do that. So it's not divided by suit. It just sort of I couldn't figure out if there was a particular rhythm to it, except that there is a consistency of the same background colors used in a lot of the cards over and over again. But I thought it was really kind of fascinating while I'm looking through it, and I'm thinking like, okay, like the green background for the Magician card, was that?
Yeah.
Are we supposed to derive meaning from that, or is it just because it looks good and it makes the colors pop? Because you're right, it does make the colors pop.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think what it's doing is it's developing a contrast where you can really make out the individual symbols. And we got Jeniffer coming back on. Let's bring her back on. One thing I wanted to. One thing I wanted to mention real quick when she was talking about, how you can miss symbolism. Like, for instance, on the star card, there's an ibis, the bird in the background, and it's a symbol for Thoth, but it's also a symbol of balance and adaptability, purity, mystery, unity, things like that. And you'll totally miss it. It's so easy to miss. Are you back with us, Jen?
I am. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. It just ended. Sorry
it happened.
No, it happens. All kinds of things happen on this show.
It's the Blog Talk switchboard. The Blog Talk switchboard will just drop people sometimes.
Right.
So you just call back in. No biggie.
But yeah, Dax and I were wondering, if, we were talking about like how, we've seen it a lot in a lot of decks where people will do the background colors of the cards to sort of, break out the suits, and match up with the elements, right? But
right.
You don't do that. We see a repetition of background colors, but it does sort of seem like this is more to create that contrast, like Dax was saying, and make the symbols pop more. Is that kind of the rhythm to it, or are we supposed to look at that? Like, I look at the Magician card and I see the green background and I think, like, should I be paying attention to that or not?
I think it's kind of actually like both are correct, I think. I definitely think I'm a graphic designer by profession, so I think definitely I try to work intuitively with color, as far as making sure things have contrast and pop, together. So there's definitely a lot of that strictly for contrast and kind of for the colors working together in harmony's sake. But definitely I tried to use color intentionally. So, for example, that Magician card, in my mind, like that powerful deep green is such a color of growth from the earth that I guess I picture the Magician being capable of making anything grow with their power, in a sense. And so I feel like if in that sense, I feel like there is something to hone in on usually with the colors. There are some that are very similar. So I know I have a couple of the aces, for example, that have that light gray background and really do follow a similar color palette to the Rider-Waite-Smith counterpart. But then there's others where I really completely departed. Like the Empress, I think, is another one that I added this really bright spring green background to it because the Empress just seems all about that lush spring energy. And so it seemed like a good color for that energy. And then I try to keep like that dark gray, charcoal gray for the heavier energy cards like Death and the Devil. I definitely tried to, indicate that with some of that darker, heavy, denser energy with that dark gray.
Yeah, well, the way you did it, I mean, the use of colors, it's so bright, and it's just really, it's fun to look at. And, what you were saying, so funny, what you were saying about how the illustrations, when, you can miss some of the symbols. And like Dax was saying with the star card, you might miss the ibis, or you can't, necessarily see them. When I teach tarot, I use the giant Rider-Waite that U.S. Games put out. It's this big, huge, deck.
Yeah, I
use
love that.
So people so I can actually point out the symbols. So so they are bigger, for everybody, so the last row of people can like maybe see it, because it is right. What I was thinking is this would be, I mean, I look at your deck and I think, oh my gosh, to use in concert with that for teaching tarot, because you pulled out all of those symbols, so I don't have to, try and make people find them. I can actually like pull one of your cards and have them look for the ways in which those symbols are used in the standard Rider-Waite.
Oh, I love that. That makes me so happy if it's useful like that for teaching. That's incredible.
I think you've created something that's really, really, really useful and helpful here.
Oh, thank you so much. Mm-hmm. That means so much. Thank you.
So, Mary,
You're welcome.
Did you notice the card stock? It has an unusual feel to it.
It has that beautiful rose petal finish that I love. I love when the creators use that. It is so nice. And you know what? I was looking at this really, when we look at, get away from the cards, themselves and all of that. When you look at the card stock, and the box, the packaging, I feel like you were listening. You were listening to what so many people are saying they prefer and that they want with, the card stock. You got this nice sturdy card stock. You got that rose petal finish, that nice velvety feel, the matte finish. A lot of people don't like the gloss. And you even edged the deck. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God.
I couldn't believe it. Great. I was like, okay, she knows what's going on.
Well, part of that's also because I'm a collector. So.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So you know what people want.
For, though.
Yeah.
The lid with the magnetic. Because as a professional, it's set up perfect for someone that would want to use this deck of cards professionally, because it's right there in the box with the nice enclosure, and you just have it sitting on your desk, and you just pop it open and pop it out, and you don't have to get a separate bag for it. You don't have to go buy a box for it. It's all there in the packaging, folks. Yes, it's like, why doesn't everybody do this?
You guys are making my day. Thank you. But yeah, I collect decks myself, so I some of that was like maybe less about listening to what people want and just being particular about what I wanted.
Awesome.
So I
go.
so many decks that I play with, I'm like, oh, I want it to look like this one or feel like this one. So I definitely am a nerd about all those details.
Well, it's funny because so many people, modify their decks, right? They buy a tarot deck and they're like, oh, I wish this was edged in a certain color, or I wish that, it didn't have a border, or all of that. And, this has a very small border on it, but because of just the design and the concept of the cards, it's almost like the border is helpful in a sense. It almost creates like the frame for all these different symbols. Like I kind of like the fact that these have a border on them and they're different colors. And again, just all the borders are different colors, but they also like work to make the colors stand out of the symbols. And
right.
you must be a heck of a graphic designer, because my goodness, this really works.
It's awesome to hear. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome. So what about decks?
I'm curious, of course, I'm always curious on the technical end of things, So, and I know a lot of other people are too, because a lot of the folks listening to our shows are professionals or want to be professionals. They're deck creators, or they want to be deck creators. So they want to hear about, the publishing journey and how it was printed, and, who you use and why, and, the whole journey there. I was thinking, though, before we go there, it's already a little bit past the bottom of the hour. Can we take a quick couple-minute break? Mary, you can tell us what shows are coming up on the network. And then when we come back, we'll have Jeniffer tell us all about that, and we'll take some phone calls.
Sure.
Oh, sounds
all righty. We're going to take a short break here.
Okay, so what is coming up on the Psychic Talk Radio Network here? Well, the next show is actually tomorrow, Sunday, January 9th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's the Magic Universe show with your host, Sharona Rapstick, and she's having a special guest, me. She's having me. I'm going to be a guest on Sharona's show tomorrow. We're going to be talking about bringing magic into the new year and taking calls and doing free mini readings. I think we're just going to have a fun time. So tune in for that. And then after that, it's the Wisdom of the Soul show on Monday with your host, Janice Fuchs. That's at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And later on Monday, January 10th, is Spiritual Guidance Radio Hour with angelic channel and healer Catherine Hahn, who's going to be giving free on-air guidance. And then some other stuff maybe is happening. Are we doing a show next week?
We'll be back on Saturday.
We'll be back on Saturday doing something, talking about good stuff. And so there you go. That's what's coming up. I'm looking at the list. You can find that by going to psychictalk.net/upcoming, and we'll probably add our show into that list because it's not there. It's like, are we coming on? But
yes, we're coming on. I just haven't had time to update the upcoming shows list because I've been in laptop hell for the last week and a half, trying to I've literally gone through 4 different laptops before settling on this one. I've reinstalled everything from all of my groups and all of my programs and files. I've moved them from computer to computer to computer, setting them up, and I finally got, the one, and this is the one. I sent all the rest back, but I'm having the issues I had this morning where I can't, copy and paste into Twitter and Facebook. It's like, just bizarre things. This is, the ongoing saga. Anyway, doing all of this has messed up my workflow, so I have not been able to update the upcoming shows page. I did want to mention that for the new year, Catherine Hahn's show on Monday, Spiritual Guidance Radio, moved to a different time. She's actually at the same time as all of the other live shows now, Mary. She's at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Wisdom of the Soul with Janice Fuchs, she's going to be doing her videos again. She's coming back in 2022 with videos. So her shows are going to be pre-recorded, and they'll be released on Mondays at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, an hour before the Spiritual Guidance show. So I just want to let everybody know about that. We don't even have all of the shows scheduled for January yet. I'm waiting for my director of communications to get that all set. Oh, wait, who is that? Oh, wait, that's Mary Brown.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
She's the one that coordinates. Yeah, she coordinates with all of our guests because she's in contact with all of the major publishers and all of the the authors and the deck creators, and she's getting us set up for January and February now. Yeah, have a talk with her so that I can actually fill out this list. Just saying. Anyway. So there you go, folks. This is the craziness in the beginning of 2022. But I did want to mention
Happy New You.
Happy New You. But for those of we haven't mentioned it yet. But for those that are wondering, because we always talk about it in the beginning of the year, we haven't mentioned it yet. Is that the world year? We're actually going into a world year of 6. Coming out of a world year, the chaos number 5, 2021 reduced to 5, 2022 reduces to 6, which is a return to balance and harmony. So hopefully, things are going to smooth out now, especially for my laptop issues. Anyway, oh boy. But back to Jeniffer. Jen, so if you can, run us through a little about that. Did you self-publish? Did you go through a publisher? Why? Why did you do what you did? All that kind of stuff.
Sure. I self-published completely. And part of going through the self-publishing route is because if you can get it financed with something like Kickstarter, you can get it done faster because, publishing, I know it can be a really tricky thing to get your foot in the door at a major publishing company. And I also think doing the Kickstarter route and getting it, funded kind of through crowdfunding is really this beautiful experience because, if you, and I'm not saying I would never be open to like traditional publishing at some point, but in the same respect, if I used a traditional publisher, I wouldn't necessarily know where my cards are going or where they're ending up, or have any personal relationships with the people who own them. And the crowdfunding is really kind of beautiful because people are helping you make, a dream come true, and then there's just lots of interaction with those people. So I feel like I kind of know some of the people my cards are going to, and that's kind of, and I have so much gratitude towards them that there's like this good just love energy, between the people that are buying your deck and yourself. But yeah, I definitely self-published. I worked with a printing company in China, and to do the decks, and they did a phenomenal job. And it was kind of one of those things, I was starting to scope out printers and get different price quotes and kind of get some information. And I had a person reach out to me from this company early on before I launched the Kickstarter, and they offered to send me some samples of their work. And once they sent me the samples, I was just about locked in because they had samples of some of the most beautiful indie decks, that a couple of which I already own that I was already gaga for. So I was like, okay, sold. So, they did a wonderful job, and I had amazing customer service every step of the way as far as kind of holding my hand through the process, helping me make all those like little decisions about the different stocks and telling me what was available and showing, sending me actual samples of what I could get. So that helped me immensely. And then the book part, because I did the printed guidebook that goes with the decks, and that was kind of a whole nother beast because once I wrote that, I realized, okay, that's another almost like a different publishing arena. So I used a company in the States to print that, and I just kind of I'm a big research nerd. So pretty much anything I do, I tend to obsessively research all the possible options out there when it comes to like a company I'm going to use or a service provider or any of that. So that was definitely true of all this too. I definitely just researched until I was blue in the face.
That's awesome. You know, you mentioned I'm also an avid collector of oracle decks as well, and you mentioned you had done an earlier deck. You said like a plant-based one. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I'm intrigued. I'm like, what?
Sure,
Made an oracle?
yeah.
What?
So that one was loosely inspired kind of by essential oils and kind of the plants that are typically used with essential oils, but it's definitely not it's not like one of those kind of decks where it has like a picture of the plant and says what it's good for, like good for your skin, or it's not that. It's a lot more kind of the spiritual side of these plants. I named it Botanic Whispers, and each one it's a very different style from the Tarot Disassembled. It's a much more photographic collage kind of style, and each one I kind of paired with almost like with a model and infused them with the different plant aspects, and so that it was almost like a person personifying the plant in each card. And then on that one, I actually didn't do any kind of book, so I actually just have an affirmation and some keywords directly on the card. But yeah, it's funny because that's been about 2 years, I think, since I made that one. That was my first little baby deck that I ever created, as far as, you know, my first venture of tipping my toe in the water of creating a deck, something I wanted to do for a long time because I had been collecting them forever. And it's been good, but that one definitely taught me a lot about what I didn't want to do with my next deck. It was. I'm not putting down that deck, but I was in a tough box. It was. I basically self-funded that one. I just did a very small run with my own funds at the time, which is, you know, kind of hard to cough up that money sometimes as an independent designer. But I wanted to try to do it. I didn't even know what Kickstarter was, and so I kind of had to really cut some corners to be able to make it affordable for me to print. So I'm not putting down tough boxes, but, you know, as a deck nerd, I would say I love a good, thick, structured box. So I swore the next time I made a deck, I would definitely make a nice structured box, and I wouldn't hold back on all the bells and whistles for the next deck. So that was kind of my goal, which I was able to accomplish with this deck, thanks to the crowdfunding. But yeah, so it was kind of a plant-inspired deck. It was a fun one, but definitely very different.
That is really cool. Yeah, I think Dax and I were talking about boxes, and I said I hope the tuck box at some point dies. You know, like, go away, tuck box. You're so annoying, tuck box.
Right.
You know,
right.
Because they're just not durable. You can't. I mean, it's like if you're going to use it a lot, you know, it's going to end up getting all like ripped up, like the top part where it tucks in. You know, they just drive me crazy.
You can barely even open the top part without it fraying and getting like, you know, like a tear in it. Like, that's pretty much the first time you open it, the top is torn.
Yeah, it's like first day. You know?
And I'm a Virgo, so I definitely get persnickety about things like wrinkles in my cardstock, or, you know, frayed edges. Like that does not sit well with me as a Virgo. So.
Yeah, right. You know, and that reminds me. What I do like about this is this Tarot Disassembled deck. Another thing I like about it is that, yes, you're using the symbols that we see in the Rider-Waite-Smith cards, but a lot of times when we hear people talk about, you know, okay, this deck is heavy in symbolism. You know, I'll hear that phrase a lot, like it's heavy in symbolism. And I think of something like maybe, who was it, Godfrey Dowson's The Hermetic Tarot, where, you know, you've got all this Kabbalah symbolism, you've got all the astrology symbolism, and you don't do that to us. There's some astrological symbols in it, but really the ones that are in the Rider-Waite-Smith that are visible in that. You don't throw in all these different systems of symbolism that aren't necessarily apparent in the Rider-Waite-Smith card, and I really appreciate that. I really do.
Thank you.
Had you even thought about it though? Because it's really hard, to not be aware of it, right? It's like it's hard.
Sure.
I think for anybody once you start, you read like a good tarot book, and you're like, whoa, wait, I got to learn Kabbalah. What?
Oh yeah, and that's a whole other pursuit of study. Once you realize, I mean, that itself is like a whole. You could learn for years just about the Kabbalah, So it gets so. That's what I love about the Rider-Waite-Smith was it was so heavy, like layered with symbolism. Like there's so many layers of it. I definitely tried not to hit people over the head with it visually, but I definitely tried to touch on a little bit of that in the book that I wrote to go with it, just to at least kind of give a nod to some of that. Like in the High Priestess card, there's the pomegranates, I think, on the backdrop behind her, where that kind of make the shape of the tree of life. And so I just kind of, I have a pomegranate in there, but otherwise I just made that very simplified little tree of life symbol that, that's more recognizable, and I stuck it on the card because it's still a very important aspect of it, but I didn't want it to be like hard to get visually. Like it's more like, okay, bam, there's that little tree of life, and you'll see it in a couple other places. It's kind of like a simplification of some of that, and definitely you would have to almost be an expert in all those different traditions to really get very deep into all that, because it left my brain spinning just doing the research, for what I did, and what I did is only probably really scratching the surface of all of that. But I love all of that too. I definitely could keep going down the wormhole myself on the research and trying to learn more about all that.
It's endless. I call tarot the gateway drug, right? Because it's like you think you're just studying tarot, and the next thing you know, it's like, oh wait, I'm also learning astrology, also learning about numbers, also learning all of this, and I always think
mythology,
you got to decide, like, am I going to draw the line, or is this just going to be all-consuming?
Right.
What am I going to focus on? But
exactly.
I love that you made it's like it's a light touch with those other systems, and so that awareness is there, but it's not inaccessible. You made a very kind of give a nod in the sense that, like, there's the connection, and that I thought was really, really helpful, because you want, I would think that as a deck creator, you don't want to kind of limit your audience. You don't want this just to be for experts in esoteric symbolism, right? You want beginners to be able to dive into this too, right?
Oh, most definitely. I think that's, if anybody's, like, some of the things that I consider the highest compliments I've gotten about this deck is just that it's good for, like, everybody. And it could be somebody starting out in tarot, or it could be somebody who's like you, who's been practicing, for their whole life and is a professional. Hopefully that, it can be useful for either camp of people, and that's a huge compliment, and something that I'm very, humbled by that if that's the case. But definitely there's definitely some decks out there that I think are gorgeous, but I wouldn't necessarily understand all the different layers just by looking at it myself. So this is kind of like more like when you go to a restaurant and get the little sampler flight of wine.
Oh yeah,
I
love
like
those.
Maybe like the little 3 different little like sample flight, like a flight of wine or beer, and it's like this is a nice little like taste sampler. So it gives you. I definitely in the book especially touch on a lot of those different systems on a very light level, so that there's the nod to it and kind of where it's coming from. But I definitely tried to say in the introduction, do your own research, go down your own wormholes, because there's so much to learn and so much you can get into on the layers upon layers of it. So nerd out, have fun, but mine's only a little scratch of the surface.
I love that. And Dax, are you there?
I'm just listening. It's fun just
I feel
listening,
like I'm hogging her. I feel like I've commandeered this because I have all these questions, and I'm sure
you've definitely achieved fangirl status, with Jeniffer and her deck. Yeah. Well, we're gonna geek out, nerd out, and Mary and I at some point we're gonna get on a a video call or something like that, and we're going. I've got my copy, and Mary's got her copy, and we're just going to sit there and do a walkthrough and for everybody, and we'll be nerding out even more soon. So
awesome. I love it.
Yeah. So ladies, are you ready to take some calls maybe?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Let's see. Okay. And there's some people waiting on the line here. Now, remember, you can always ask Jeniffer questions about deck creation, publishing, Kickstarters, the whole thing. Oh, we should have Jeniffer come on and do a talk for the members for, half hour or something where we just talk about the whole process and stuff like that. And people can...
I would love that.
Members can ask questions like, what's it like doing a Kickstarter? How do you get started? All that kind of stuff.
Right.
Let's do that for the new year, right?
That'd be awesome.
That would be a lot of fun because we have a lot of people that are members of the guild and either have a deck idea or, have wanted to do it but aren't sure, what the process is like. So that would be terrific.
Uh-huh.
Awesome. Yep, we definitely have to do that. So, callers, you can ask questions about that, about the deck, and, of course, you could ask for a mini reading as well. Mary, are you going to use Tarot Disassembled? I'm just curious.
I am surrounded by all kinds of decks here, so I'm just going to intuitively reach for whatever.
Awesome. Jeniffer, do you want to pull cards too, or what?
I can do that. I had moved to my husband's office to try to get better phone reception, so I just need to go grab my deck, but I can definitely do that.
Yeah, grab a deck.
Awesome.
Okay,
grab it.
I will
take
be right
some
back.
calls here. And meanwhile, while she's doing that, I'm going to mention real quick, Mary, that we're talking about changing laptops, and one of the things is that I can't get my tarot program to work, so I have to get some kind of an alternative, So meanwhile,
real cards.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I'm out on my patio. I don't have my deck with me out here, and I can't. Logistically, I can't do it right now.
What's hilarious is I just counted. I am now surrounded by 8 decks that are just sitting out.
Wow.
So I know it happened. It just happened that way.
So I just mentioned that because I'm going to rely on you and Jeniffer to pull a card or two for the whatever you want to do for the callers. Yeah, because I don't have a deck to work with here. Unless I do. They have they talk sometimes on. I've seen YouTube videos where they talked about. I know Mitchell Osborne did this. He talked about doing readings without a deck, just having the images come into your subconscious. Really cool stuff like that. Are you back, Jeniffer?
I am.
Oh, she is. She's there. Okay, let's see who's been waiting the longest. It looks like area code 803. Caller, are you there? What's your name? Where are you calling from? 803.
This is Chris from South Carolina. Chris from South. How you doing?
From South Carolina. Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I was calling to ask, how's my money situation looking? And will I get my car fixed soon?
And those two go together, right?
Get my car
fixed, right? Right? Sometimes that costs money. Well, I'll tell you, I just happened to grab my ancient Italian tarot deck for this.
Is it green? Is it green box?
No, we want it to be green, right? But the pentacles in this deck are so huge. That's why I just thought it just gravitated towards it. But how's your money situation? Are you going to have enough money coming in? Wow. First card that comes up is the Page of Pentacles, 2 of Pentacles in the past position. Emperor card going forward. That's awesome. 4 swords underneath that. And we got the 6 of Swords. Yes. Okay, look, it's going to get good. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. You know, but the Two Pentacles in the past position shows like, there's been some money ups and downs. Things have been fluctuating. We haven't been able to really, you know, have it stabilized where we can get done what we need to get done, like getting your car fixed.
Right.
The Six of Swords overlooking everything. The Six of Swords is great because that's when we have smooth sailing ahead. And now the sky's opening up, the clouds are lifting, and, you know, it's going to be tranquil, and we're going to have it together. And especially the Emperor card in the final position there is really one that I really like to see on a question like this, because to me that Emperor, it's a number 4, it's about stability and structure. Structure is something to think about too, right? So we're going to have money coming in. There may be a new situation that's happening with the page at the center there that can herald like a new phase, you know, which is a good thing. It's connected to a new phase when it comes to our income, our finances, etc. The only thing that I would say as advice is think about that idea of structure. So structure, it can mean like a budget. In a sense, you know, you're going to have some money flow coming in. Things are going to get better. And how can you kind of, you know, budget your finances or kind of structure your situation there so that we keep it steady? And let's see what Jennifer's getting.
I pulled the Ace of Wands, which is a very, very good sign. Aces are pretty much always resounding yes cards. It's essentially like a gift being given to you from the divine source. So it's pretty much like everything is coming up in your favor if you get an ace. So Ace of Wands. Wands are definitely a fiery energy, a lot of action based. So I feel like things can happen very, very fast with Wands. So I feel like it's just, you know, your car situation is going to be much better very, very, very soon. And yeah, it's definitely a very positive omen.
Okay, good. I'll tell you what happened. My neighbor gave me his old car. He got a new car because something was wrong with it, and he gave it to me because he sees me walking miles a day. And I needed a car to take my mother to her doctor's appointments and go to the grocery store. And I got the car, and it's just sitting here. And I got insurance on it. I got tags on it, but it's running hot. And I don't have no money to fix it. So
right.
I was just wondering what was coming in. Because it's been real hard without it.
Well, if you're walking miles, you know, you must be in great shape, though. But, you know,
well, I'm in better shape now. I'm in better shape now that I can walk miles now. But,
you know, me getting that Page of Pentacles, Jennifer getting the Ace, I think there's something new coming in that's going to improve your situation so you can get that fixed.
Okay, so pretty.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for calling.
Okay,
thanks for the call, Chris.
Good luck.
Soon, right?
Oh yeah, definitely soon. But be on the lookout for a different angle on it. You know, the Ace. You know, that's something new, something you're not thinking of right now. But thanks for the call, Chris. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. We got a couple more calls in here we're going to try to take for the end of the show. I did want to mention real quickly that if we don't get to your call today, remember, same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow, Sharona Rapsick and her Magic Universe show. They'll be taking calls. And, of course, Mary here will be on the show. She's a special guest. So, yeah, you can call in tomorrow as well. Okay, I got to tell you guys something really eerie, synchronicity that happened. So I don't know if you heard, Jennifer, when you were going to pick up your deck, I was mentioning to Mary that I'm relying on you guys because I usually use a program on my computer. And with my new computer, it won't work on Mac OS. So I have to get a new something to use, you know, or just use a physical deck. But it's really hard logistically the way I sit out on my patio and do the shows here to like shuffle cards, physical cards. And with the radio show, you know, it's much faster just doing it with a program. You know, you click shuffle, you click and poop, it pops the spread out. And logistically right now I can't run in and get a deck. So I said, Mary, I'm going to rely on you to, unless I do that reading method where you don't even use a deck, where you just, the first thing that comes into your subconscious. So this is funny. So like very synchronistic and strange. When Mary was talking to Chris, just before Jeniffer, she went to you and said, what are you getting? I just, closed my eyes and kind of blanked my subconscious, and wouldn't you know, I got the Ace of Wands.
Oh, I love that.
Just like you did.
That is cool.
I love this.
Yeah,
I love that synchronicity.
Crazy?
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, definitely synchronicity. Let's see who's been waiting the longest on here. I know. I'm loving this. I'm going to try it again here. I'm going to close my eyes here. We're going to bring on. But before I close my eyes, I have to bring the caller on here. Okay, so area code 919. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed the show. My name is Kay, and I'm calling from Georgia.
Hi, Kay.
Hi, thank you. I would like a mini read. I am in a job that's very toxic, not happy, but I do know, and I believe with my soul that I'll probably be leaving because I'm applying for so many things, and I'm trusting, believing in the next probably couple months something is going to manifest. My concern is, though, while I'm still there working with this toxic manager, am I safe? Because I can tell she's manipulating the situation now because I went to HR on her. So I'm just wondering, do you see me being able to keep my job during this process?
Right. Are you kind of safe while you're there?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just actually using an angel deck for this because just because. I'm like, do I have a reason? I don't have a reason. Just because. And yeah, I think you are safe. I don't see anything saying that you aren't safe. But it's really also asking you to be able to kind of hold your own, hold the line.
Yes.
Don't give in to it, because this is like a bully that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she really is.
Yeah, you're like dealing with a bully, and the angel cards are just showing like this sort of like, it feels like a big mountain we've got to climb, and it's saying like, don't give up. Don't give up. Don't let this person. Yeah, don't let this person like let you just shrink back and say, I give up, you win. Don't do that. And you got changes. You've got some positive changes coming ahead of this, and moving out of there and into a new situation looks really good. We have this card that's really about happiness in the future position. So I feel like you're going to get there, but in the meantime, don't let the bully win. Let's see what Jennifer's getting and what Jack sees in his mind.
Well, I got the devil reversed. Now, I know sometimes people hear the devil and they think, oh boy. But the devil is really not that scary of a card, but the devil reversed is actually almost really a positive, because especially in the situation you're describing, there's, the devil is a little bit about the things that kind of keep us trapped in our lower self, if that makes sense. So the fact that it's reversed is basically indicating you're about to break free of this situation completely. And I don't sense that there's anything unsafe, even though it's the devil energy. That's still just more of it's not a good situation for you. It's definitely confirming that, but I don't feel like it's unsafe. I do feel like this manager, if they had their way, would probably keep you bound there if they could, like to this, in this situation. They'd prefer you, they could keep you under kind of their control. And but I definitely think because this showed up reverse, and Mary can definitely probably give more insight on the devil reverse, but that definitely indicates to me a breaking of chains and basically being free of the situation very soon, which is a good thing.
That's what I thought of. As soon as you said devil reverse, I thought of breaking the chains. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't
great.
I don't have much to. Yeah, I don't have much to add to that except for that, Kay, when you first started talking with Mary, what popped in my head was the Seven of Swords. So yeah, there's definitely manipulation stuff going on behind the scenes and stuff like that. But I don't get, gut instinct wise, I don't get the feeling that you're unsafe. It's just you want to get out of that situation as soon as possible.
Yes, thank you. I surprised
Thanks
her
for the call,
when I
Kay.
stopped tolerating it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Blessings to you all. Happy New Year.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
And Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Awesome.
You.
Okay. So we got like one other caller on here. I don't have an area code for them, so I'm just going to bring them on and say, caller, you're live on air. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, ma'am. Search Melissa, Colorado.
I heard Colorado. What's your name again, hon? I missed it.
Melissa? Melissa, hi. Yeah,
or
sorry, my voice is. I had a little cold. Yeah, hi. What a nice show. I always listen to it.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
awesome.
I see your website. Thank you for taking my call. I have a question. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. What's your question?
So,
what do you want us to look at?
Yeah, I was looking at something. So I'm gonna go for a promotion at work, and maybe the lovely cards can give me an answer. Because I'm stuck between. I have an interview on the 13th, and then I have then there's another promotion that they're gonna give me, but they haven't given me a definite date. They said that before March, for sure. And I should like to know. Should I take the one that's with the other ones? Like, which one do you see coming up for me that I'm really gonna take? One is like a little bit like a retail, and the other one has to do with a lot of customer interaction.
So it's like which of those two should you?
Yes,
looks better for you, basically the retail one or the other one is customer interaction, right?
Yeah, I want to know, like, Roland was told, okay, so let me be more specific. Roland said that I was going to get the promotion, and I want to know if I'm going to get Roland's promotion. There we go. Let's do that. Okay.
Do we see you getting that promotion, sometime soon, before March at least, right? Okay, yes, so I'm going to look using the Superfina deck. Okay. Look, it does look good for you doing that. I feel like it's going to be probably 6 weeks from now. Okay, so what is that? That's not March. That's what's 6 weeks from now? Somebody add dates.
That's the end of February, I think. End of February?
Yeah.
That's
like
what I'm getting. And I get the cherry card with that. I get the 5 of Cups right now in the present position. So, like, if you're feeling like a little bit down about things and saying like, okay, I'm kind of disappointed that it didn't happen at the first of the year. Kind of wish they would just do it. That's something to just kind of, acknowledge, breathe through, and just know that, yeah, it's going to happen, and it's just not happening as quickly as it sort of seems like they could have done, to tell you the truth. But, it's going to happen. It's just, try to, kind of deal with those feelings that you have surrounding this if you're feeling kind of down about it at the moment. And let's see what Jeniffer has.
Yeah, I drew the Nine of Cups for you. The Nine of Cups is kind of a card of wish fulfillment. It's a little bit like whatever you're wishing for, that wish will be granted. So if you're wishing for the promotion, or you're wishing for, I'm not sure which one you want more, but I would say whichever one you want more, put your thoughts into manifesting it, because it's definitely very, very, very much a likelihood that it's going to happen. It's kind of like your wish is going to come true. But there's also in the Nine of Cups sometimes a sense of sitting still, and that action isn't really. So in some ways I would say it's not going to happen like tomorrow, because there's a little bit of a sitting still, and there's something, it's like it's kind of going to happen eventually, but right now the energy is not fast paced. But it is a very abundant card of your wishes kind of and prosperity coming true. The other thing I kind of just got more intuitively was, when it comes to things around our money and our wealth and the way we make money, that there's like an energy to it. And since cups are the suit of emotions, I feel like it's like I kind of want to tell you to just try to go with the flow a little bit and not hold too tight to being stressed or kind of worrying or having anxiety around which one's going to come about for you, but kind of like allow yourself to go with the flow and know that you are going to be taken care of, that one of these things is going to manifest and it's going to be in your best interest. So it's going to be good, but try to just relax to the flow of how this progresses now in the next month or so. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, thank you. Very, very, very uplifting. Thank you. Just smiling here. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks for calling.
Thanks for the call. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and Happy New Year, too.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New You.
Happy New You. Well, here we are at the end of the show already. Wow, this was a lot of fun, Jeniffer.
We
Gotta
did
have
it.
you back on.
Oh, thank you guys so much. I had so much fun. I'm just very appreciative of the opportunity to get to chat with you guys. It's very exciting, and I had a blast. So
What's
thank
next
you so much.
for you? What's next for
I
you?
have some other ideas for some other decks that have been little seeds in my brain for a while, and I'm very excited that once I can finally stop packaging and boxing every single day, because right now I'm fulfilling orders still, so that's my life right now is boxing, taping, boxing, wrapping. But as soon as that's done, I'm excited to be able to kind of think about some new ideas. So next for me is hopefully another deck down the road. So stay tuned.
Let us know. Keep us in the loop.
I will. I definitely will. And thank you guys so much.
And I'm going to be in contact to see if we can schedule a mini workshop and talk all about.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I would love to do
so much
that.
Fun.
Thank you.
Thanks for that, Jen. It's going to be really great.
Yeah,
we could be on
definitely.
cam, too.
Oh, seriously. I'm just kidding.
You got to do your hair. I got to do my hair and makeup and everything.
You mean I can't wear pajamas? I wear pajama bottoms, but, I'll look professional from the waist up.
Bottoms.
You might want to wear a top as well.
The top, yeah.
Yes, I'll wear something. I'll definitely come dressed. That's my guarantee.
Yeah, at least the dress part, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be dressed. That's all I can really guarantee.
Well, thanks to all our listeners and callers, and thank you again, Jeniffer and Mary, for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody. We'll be back next week.
Goodbye.
We're not sure exactly what with, because our director of communications hasn't got back to me yet. But anyway,
I'll check in with her and see what's happening.
We're going to have some kind of a show. Yeah, we're going to do some kind of show next week. Yeah. And don't forget to tune in on. Yes.
Thanks for coming
Jeniffer.
on.
Yes, Happy New Year. And don't forget to join us on Tuesday,
Happy New
folks.
Year.
Yes, don't forget to join us for Tarot Tuesday. Yeah, we're going to do a live on the Facebook group. It's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern, so that's 12 p.m. on the left coast. And we will be live on air, me and Tamara. I hope a lot of you will join us on the live Facebook. You can ask anything. Ask us anything. Ask us about the Tarot Guild. Ask us about certification, tarot, numerology. Ask us for a mini reading. We'll do it all there on the live this coming Tuesday. Bye, everybody. Bye, Mary. Bye, Jennifer.
Bye, Doug. Bye, Jennifer.
Bye.